ध्यायन्तु ममाङ्गानि वाक्प्राणश्चक्षुश्रोत्रमथो बलमेन्द्रियाणि च सर्वाणि सर्वं ब्रह्मोपनिषदं माहं ब्रह्म निराकुर्याम् मा ब्रह्म निराकरोत् अनिराकरणमस्तु अनिराकरणं मेस्तु तदात्मनि निरते य उपनिषत्सु धर्मास्ते मयि सन्तु ते मयि सन्तु। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। Om. May all my limbs attain strength. May the body, mind, all the sensory and motor organs and the life force become powerful and efficient. All is verily the one without second, ever perfect, ever blissful existence itself. Let me never deny this truth of oneness. May this truth never reject me either. All the virtues necessary for the realization of this truth in life, which are described by the scriptures, be with me. Om, peace, peace, peace. Let us feel our indwelling, innermost being, our true self in our heart. It does not change, although the body, the mind, all the world is changing constantly. Let us feel this innermost being, our soul, as a steadily burning candle flame, and let us concentrate on it. Everything else is merged in that light. There is no separate I or world. All is one without second, homogeneous, blissful luminosity itself. There is no coming or going. There is no time or space. All is calm. On this plain, homogeneous screen, the movie of the world is appearing and disappearing. Without affecting the screen in any way. I am this screen, this support, the unchanging background of this universe. Om, peace, peace, peace. Clicker. So, dear friends, let us begin this 35th class on Srimad Bhagavatam with our usual chant. Janmadyasya yatonvayaditaratashtamaratarashtatra चार्थेष्वभिज्ञस्वराट् तेने ब्रह्महृदाय आदिकवये मुह्यन्ति यत्सूरयः तेजो वारिमृदां यथा विनिमयो यत्र त्रिसर्गो मृषा धाम्ना स्वेन सदा निरस्तकुहकं सत्यं परं धीमहि. That from whom creation, sustenance and dissolution of the universe take place, who is both what happened suddenly? It disappeared from here. Who is both the instrumental and material cause of it, who is omniscient, is the only one having self-mastery, being the one independent entity, who illumined the mind of Brahma with the Vedic revelation, whose wisdom is the wonder of even the greatest sages, in whom the world of the three gunas subsists just as the combination of materials like fire, water and earth subsist in their causes without changing their elemental nature, in whose consciousness there is nothing false. On that truth supreme we meditate. So let us begin the discussion on how Brahma creates. Excuse me, there is some problem with this machine. Something else came there, not what we were going to discuss. Last time we saw that Brahma could not find who he is, what is the purpose of this universe, what is this all about. It was not seen at all. So therefore, when he saw that through external conditions, extra search in the outside world, it is not happening. And so he decided to meditate. And then meditating, he found that the Lord there in meditation, please you move this slide when I show the VNC is not working. Maybe something happened to it. Maybe it needs to be, that app needs to be updated, who knows. So you just make the slide go up when I do like this. Okay? Yeah, please forgive on all the online listeners. Hey, here it comes. Our techie has done the job. Good. So, this formless universe, he saw the Lord, who is without form and with form. Many have this query, this question, that how can God be with form or without form? Many say that God has form. Many others say God has no form. Now, because our mind is conditioned to see either form or formless, we cannot get this idea that the same reality is with form and without form. It is, you see this discussion right in the beginning of the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, that M, the chronicler of the Gospel, asked Sri Ramakrishna that, well, the people should be taught that the image is not God. It is, Sri Ramakrishna asks him that, do you believe in formless or with form? And then he could not understand the question, as he mentions there, that this was strange to him, and that it should be, how can both be true? It is, Sri Ramakrishna told when he said that I like formless, when M said that I like formless, well, both are true, and he didn't like the answer. He thought that formless is true, with form is only those ignorant people, they worship that in form. Form is not real. But Sri Ramakrishna gives example, not right there, but in Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna that example occurs, that the water has no form, but with the cold as of the devotion, with the cold of the devotion, in that water gets frozen in ice, and that ice has form. So it is, form and formless are not different. So Brahma, through meditation, saw it. Through his intellect and just searching outside, he, in spite of searching for many thousand years, he could not find it. It is like that, you do not see by the external analysis of external world anything much. One has to go deep. There is a beautiful verse almost towards the end of the great Shvetashvatar Upanishad, that without realizing God, there is no end to sufferings here. Howsoever you may develop externally, there is no happiness or peace unless one realizes God. He gives that analogy that you may be able to roll the whole world and put it under your armpit, so to say. You can, yada charmavad akasham veshtaishyanti manavaha, like a small piece of carpet, you roll and carry. You will be able to carry one day maybe the whole universe, roll it like a small piece of carpet, and still when you can do that, then only, without knowing God, you can have the cessation of suffering. Means it is a figure of speech, since we are never going to be able to roll the whole universe, because we are part of it, so we will get rolled in the process, that's all. So, since that is impossible, so also it is impossible to have the cessation of suffering without knowing the inner divine being, Devam tada Devam avidnyaya dukkasyantam bhavishyati, that the cessation of suffering will not happen till then. So going deep in meditation, then Brahma saw the God, and we saw many different, these analogies. He tries to describe this vision There is no way to describe except through different analogies. One analogy is he saw the God and the whole universe is like that whole thing is a sandalwood tree and all the vines that are around the tree. The whole world is tied to God, is as it were. It is whole thing is God manifest. So he says these hymns there, and he saw the form and the formless. So he found him far transcending the glow and grandeur of an emerald mountain, his yellow wearing cloth covering the orange red evening clouds covering the mountain, his diademed head, the glowing peaks of it. So, his floral wreaths and ornaments, his waterfalls, vegetation, flowers, precious stones, etc. on it. It is such a big vision, a huge mountain, like you can think of Rockies or Himalayas, that whole thing that is God, and everything that is on it, the vegetations, the flowers, the waterfalls, everything that is, he saw God like that. So it is the analogy, remember, it is not that, don't think that God looks like Rocky Mountain, no. It is one of the ways of description, that's all. It is so big beyond description, that is the idea. He saw the form of the Lord, which includes within itself the whole universe, but which could assume any size according to his will, which is resplendent with numerous divine ornaments and clothes, and which can assume other forms and decorations according to the needs of the devotees. Last time we saw there that it is the need of the devotees. According to the need of the devotees, God takes the form. That which is beyond all forms is having all different forms depending on the need of the devotees. When the devotees feel a need, accordingly that corresponding form is taken by God. Whatever color, whatever form, yeah. So there is this. It is Sri Ramakrishna tells the story that there was a cloth dyer. So he had a drum full of dye. And then whatever customer whenever says that dye this in yellow, okay, he would dip in that drum, take out, okay, this is your yellow. Then somebody says, I want crimson. Okay, he would take the cloth, dip it in the same drum. Hey, here is your crimson. Hey, I want orange. Okay, this is your orange, dipping in the same drum. All different colors he would take out. So it was one man watching. He was smiling there watching, and this painter asked, hey, what color do you want your cloth to be dyed in? And this man said, I want to dye it in the color that is in your drum. So, a very intelligent answer that it includes thus all colors. So that is the color of the God. All forms belong to God, and that divine is beyond all forms. When devotees wish one form, then God for them takes that form. Bhagavad Gita mentions this, that yam yam tanum bhakta shraddhayarchitumicchati, uh, that whatever particular form uh, a devotee wants to worship God in, that God takes that form for the pleasure and convenience of that devotee. So that is how it is told here, that God assumes all these different forms. He saw him whose smile removes the sorrows of the world, and whose face is beautiful by shining ear ornaments and by reddish tinge lent to it by the reflection of the red ruby like lips, and also his comely nose and well set eyebrows. Description is of a very beautiful form. How nice! Because it is the beauty that attracts a person. You love whatever is beautiful, and whatever you love, you see it as beautiful. Both these things go hand in hand. In our study of that Plotinus essay on beauty is a very nice essay that shows that how the love and the happiness and beauty, these concepts, they are all very closely related. Whatever is beautiful, you see it being loved. You get attracted by that, and that makes you feel happy. So that is how all these things are together. So when you think of God, the dearest one, and the source of all happiness, that God has to be the source of all beauty as well. So devotees see that in that most beautiful form, whatever your idea of beauty is, according to that, the God will take that beautiful form for you. In different cultures, the ideas of, say, beauty of the dress, they are different. They differ, in even in India, the idea of beautiful clothing in southern India is different from that in the northern India. They vary. So the God chooses how you want me to look. Accordingly, the God looks like that. It is, I remember that one of our colleagues when I was in training center, he too was with me. Now he has been born and raised in Bengal, and so his idea of a beautiful, very good lady, what kind of clothes she would be wearing, and they were like that according to his reasoning. Now there is a picture of Ram, Lakshman, Sita, Hanuman, etc. A very well-known picture all over India, and that is worshipped every fortnight when at Belur Math they do this Rama Nama Sankirtanam. So there is the picture of Sita. Now the painter, well-known painter Raja Ravi Verma, he was from South India. So and south-western India, and so he put the clothing on Sita according to that custom there. And this, my colleague, other brahmachari, he could not think that is the proper picture of Sita. I can't imagine Sita putting on that kind of the attire. It was impossible for him to think like that. Sita does not look like the goddess Mother Sita. How can she put on like this? So it is now the ideas which are in a particular region, accordingly this Sita will be dressing there. The Sita in Rajasthan, the western part, northwestern part of India, will have a completely different attire. So when you see the paintings or the images which are very popular these days, the marble images of Ram and Sita, so the attire will be different. So it is according to the custom, but it has to be very beautiful according to those people. There is an incident, very illustrative incident in the life of great sage and one of the well-known teachers of Vedanta, Ramanujacharya. Ramanujacharya, he always thought of God with form, and the form of Vishnu, Varadaraja, and that form of the Lord. So at Sri Rangam, that temple is there. So he one day he saw a man walking backwards on the street. Normally people would be moving forward with their eyes in the direction that they are going, but this man was walking backwards. And he was surprised why all this man decided to walk like this backwards. So he asked what happened, and this man showed, look, that is my beloved, that girl. That girl is so pretty, tremendously beautiful. I cannot take my eyes off her. I always want to keep on looking at her. So I am walking backwards so that I will not be missing seeing her. So hearing that, Ramanuja said, come on, I will show you a more beautiful face. He said, impossible, there cannot be any more beautiful face. What are you talking about? Come on, I am going to show you a more beautiful face. So ultimately he agreed, and Ramanuja took him to that temple where the face of Lord Vishnu was shining with great grandeur. And he says, look at that face. And now, because of the influence of this great teacher, this man's life changed. He saw that all beauty is emanating from God. The source of all beauty is there, and there alone. Therefore, everything in the world appears beautiful for a time and not beautiful, if not rank ugly at some other time. It keeps on shifting and changing. Something is beautiful for somebody, not beautiful for somebody else. So it is, the beauty is God's. So therefore this description here is of various ideas of beauty that a person can think of. So he saw the deity like a great sandalwood tree that we saw here, having arms with diamond-studded armbands for the branches. His unmanifested infinitude for the root, and Adishesha, the serpent, as the vine entwining the branches. Adishesha, it is shown in the various Puranas that Lord rests on that great serpent. His name is Adishesha, Sheshanag. What is this? There is a beautiful that simile there, that it is, so it is, Shesha means the remnant, that which remains. The world comes and goes. What remains is God. That is Shesha. So Shesha means that which is remainder of everything. So the God is sleeping on that, means that which ever is, it does not go away. The Lord is resting on that. That is the essential idea of God. Never changes, never finishes. That is always there. That is the whole world is like a bubble gone. What remains? God alone remains. So that is the idea of Shesha. And we saw that word here many times. He saw the mountain of Bhagwan, which had all the living creatures as its inhabitants, the cosmic waters as the ocean surrounding it, Adi Shesha as the serpent harboring on it, the numerous diadems as it speaks, and the manifest Srivatsa as the quarry of precious stones in it. Srivatsa, it is a sign that is borne by Lord on his heart, as Vatsa is a little this calf. So that calf is shown on the heart of the Lord and on the feet also. That is as it were the sign of the Lord. So these Srivatsa is mentioned here. So he saw the Lord whose form was covered with the floral wreath symbolic of his own glory, and having the Vedic chant as the numerous bees hovering around it, who is impenetrable to the sun, moon, fire, and wind, and whose weapons, like Sudarshana, spread their dazzle throughout the three worlds, rendering him difficult of approach. It is all the beauty again and the wisdom of the Vedas. See, this Vedas, Vedic hymns are just like bees hovering on these flowers. So Brahma sees Lord in all these different forms. And while seeing this, he saw himself also. He saw himself. And that is very interesting. It says that simultaneously he saw also the lotus coming out of the lake of Lord's navel, with himself sitting in it, as also the causal waters, the wind and the sky. Nothing more did Brahma, bent on his work of creation, see. This is all that he saw. Nothing more did he see, means why he didn't see anything more? Because when he saw himself, he remembered, oh, I have to do this work. I need to do this. Till the I had not arisen, that was not there. I came, oh, okay, I have been commissioned here to do the creation. So, what it is very beautifully put here. Having seen having seen this much, Brahma, who was filled with the spirit of Rajas, who was desirous of bringing various species of beings into existence, whose mind was set on the creative act, and who was intensely contemplating on him of mysterious ways, now addressed a hymn of praise to him. That is how a person gets into work. Rajas. This Rajas is that Sattva, Rajas, Tamas, these three gunas, three qualities. It is difficult to translate this whole idea in English because this thought is not there at all in Western philosophy. The three gunas, that there is a material or quality which is pure and peaceful, it is full of wisdom, that is called sattva. Then there is the activity, there is the desire, the activity produced by it, and it is therefore full of turbulence. That is called rajas. And then there is the tamas, where the laziness, inertia is there. Tamas means no activity. But this is not like sattva, no activity. Sattva, because of the wisdom, there is no desire and so no activity. In tamas, what happens is too many desires. They like bottleneck, and so therefore nothing comes out, no work happens, because you cannot decide where to begin. That happens to many of us, that so much work is to be done. But then because you don't understand now where to begin, nothing gets done. So many have this problem, friends. It is a universal problem. Many have this problem to such an extent that they see all that work of organizing their small room maybe, but now where to begin? Oh, this will take long time, this I cannot do, which should I do? By that time all they see now it is time for lunch. So nothing can be done. One lady used to just cry and looking at the mess in her house, but could not do any work because could not realize where to begin now. The problem is so deep and so expansive in life that where to begin you don't know. You just move the things from the bed so that you can lie down, nothing more than that. It is, otherwise everything just remains like that. It is the whole sink. I was told by that whole sink was full of the dirty utensils, that utensils used. So all there, smelling putrefied smell is coming from there. And now, oh, so much of work, oh, I don't feel like doing. Now that is not the sattva but tamas. That everything is now bottleneck, nothing comes out as it were. So this sattva, rajas, tamas. So as long as there is just sattva, Brahma didn't think of creation. But now I came, the ego, I. And when you think of I, then you remember, oh, this is the work, I am employee of such and such bank, I have to do this, I have to finish this today. And then you remember all the work that needs to be done, how to do it, you start thinking on those lines, and thus you do not see anything more now. Oh, enough now, now let me concentrate on my work. Now, Brahma also thus concentrated on how to do the work, but he needed first to get the clear guidance, how to do it, and the knowledge of doing it, and so forth. And he saw God alone, and so he started praising the God. So that is how this hymn of Brahma to Lord is a very famous hymn, very beautiful. Brahma started singing the glories of the Lord. He has to create, but he sees that God is everything is actually just projection of God. Now where is the scope for me to create? So first you have to create a scope for your creation. If God has done everything already, what am I to do? So you need a job. If God has done everything, now you are without job. It's a problem. So he says that what am I to do? Provide me some work. And so he begins to praise God. That, O Lord, after practicing meditation for long, I have at last, and here we begin the chapter 9. I have at last come to possess some understanding of Thee. This is the common deficiency of all embodied beings. This is the problem, that we do not know God. And we know the movie, we can meticulously, tell the sequence of the events in the movie, and we can tell at what point what scene is going to come. Yeah, we know everything, all details, except we do not know that it is actually all screen. Screen was appearing like that. So that wisdom people do not have, he says, and this is our common problem. This is important to, we should not say that, hey, I don't have this problem. That fellow has this. Nobody needs to be criticized for something that is a common problem with all of us. This is our common problem. So nobody should be condemned or criticized for this. We all do not understand that there is this reality, God, that is being projected like all these different forms. How interesting it is, But we do not see this great truth. We are addicted to these different forms. So, this is our common problem. So, he further says, nothing exists besides thee, O all powerful being. The many that appear are actually not separate from thee. All that appear is not at all separate from you. They appear, but they don't have any existence of their own. You are appearing as all this. So, uh, they are only the products of thy power, Maya, whose gunas are manifested as the world of multiplicity. The world of multiplicity, many, even when we think of God, I and God, that God means multiplicity. It is not actually so. You cannot think of, the movie and screen. There are two things, movie and a screen. No, screen alone is the real thing. A movie is just an appearance on it. The pictures are just appearance, not the reality. This multiplicity is so delusional. We get deluded by the apparent multiplicity and thus think I am superior to that person, I am good, that fellow is bad, and I like this, and so forth. I don't like this, I like this, like, dislike, all that bondage keeps on expanding around us. So, this is the state in which one is. So, this is an expression of consciousness bliss and devoid of every trace of darkness of ignorance has been assumed by thee for the blessings of thy devotees. This, thy original uh, descent, the avatara, is the source of several others of which I sprung from. Thy navel lotus am one. He is aware that he is one of the incarnations springing up from this Lord. I am just being projected by you. O Supreme Being, I find nothing higher than this form of thine, which is constituted of pure bliss, which is changeless, and which is of the unobstructed brilliance. Thou art the one existence and the creator of all, its instrumental cause and its material cause, constituted of elements, senses, and other cosmic categories, and yet thou art the pure spirit in whom the world manifestation makes no change. No tiredness. It is when God made the world, and there is this story. Now, the story has to be told, and the analogy and metaphors have to be adjusted to human ideas. So, after human being works for a long time, feels tired and needs rest. So, poor God also has to abide by this rule. So, God worked for 6 days, created the universe, and then on seventh day he decided to take rest. As if Lord did lot of work. He didn't do anything without doing anything. He just manifests. It is not doing, it is just manifestation. It is, therefore, there is no labor involved in it. So, this is the idea that we have to see. Without any change, God appears as all this. Let us keep this in mind, that the idea of creation as we see it in Vedanta is just manifestation. It is already everything is there in God, and just it expresses itself. It is self-expression. There is no work involved in it at all. So creation is not a work of God. It is manifestation, spontaneous manifestation of God. It is happening without any work being done. So, then it's a long prayer. We will not see everything about it. But one important part of this prayer is that now Brahma has to do the work, although he is constantly connected with God, and yet he knows one drawback of work. Work generates attachment. I did it. As soon as you know that you have to do some work, yes, I cooked it. Simple work, some cooking some dish. I did it. There is the attachment. There is the desire that people should praise it. Oh, it came out so good. And then you lose the sight of God. You get bound by that. Then you want to cook more so that you will get more praise. It is that cycle is called avidya kama karma, means there is the ignorance, that because of ignorance the desires, those desires propel the action, and then that action again creates the same cycle over and over again. It solidifies the desires, and then again you work, and so Brahma is aware of this problem associated with creation, any work. So he prays to Lord that, oh Lord, please bless me, that although I will be doing this work as commanded by you, it is, even I, Brahma, though established in Satyaloka, means that is the highest realm of existence, connected, established in truth as it were, which excels all other realms and has a duration extending over a vast period of time marked by two parardhas, many, say, billions of years. So, I am still afraid of thee as time, and therefore engage myself in prolonged tapas for the attainment of thy fearless state. To that being, the bestower of the state, to that being, the bestower of the fruits of all yajnas, my salutations. So, he says, he engaged as I am in the creation of the various spheres which are to be the venue for the sportive manifestation of thee and thy spiritual counterpart, this Shakti. Here it is mentioned Rama, that it is the consort, divine consort of Vishnu is Rama or Lakshmi. So it is, so may I, through remembrance of Thee, the bestower of grace on all devotees who surrender to Thee, remain unaffected by the stain of attachment incidental to this work. Let us remember this psychology of work. And the attachment comes. But what is the way not letting it come? By remembrance of Thee. Remembering the God always as the doer. And also the reality of all, doer, the work, and result of it, all is God. The chant that we do, Brahmarpanam Brahmahavi, Brahmagnau Brahmanahutam, Brahmaivate Nagantavyam. At the time of taking food, we make this chant. We chant this to tell ourselves that this is actually all God. The food is God. The eater is God. There is no subject-object division there. No eater and eaten. It is all God. The plates and the spoons and the forks that we use, that also is God. Brahmarpanam, the ladle or the spoon, that is God. And then what happens, that also is God. All is to be seen through this. That remembrance is the key. And then Lord will assure him that no, it will not happen to you if because you are established in God, you are connected to God. So I bless you. That part, today's time is over. So I wanted to speak of that also, but since there is no time and it is important, we shall try to discuss it on next Friday. So we shall conclude with our closing chant, and then if you have questions, please feel free to ask. Nigam kalpatarur galitam phalam shukamukhadamritadrava sanyutam pibata bhagavatam rasamalayam muhuruho rasika bhuvi bhavuka. O devotees, quaff to intoxication this nectar of the fruit of the tree of Vedas, flowing from the mouth of the great sage Shuka and mixed with the ambrosia from his words. Any question?
There is one question from Fred Richardson. How do we make an honest appraisal of our attachments and desires that keep us bound to this world so that we can have true vairagya?
How to make good appraisal? Very good question, we see if there is the desire again and again rising to do the work. Instead of the desire to meditate and hold on to Lord, if the desire is to do work for getting something, then obviously we are having attachments. The attachment is increasing, and therefore it is good to look at it. Is the devotion increasing or the desire increasing? If the drive to do work is increasing, then we are getting attached to work and its results. If the devotion is increasing, then that is how you can see that the attachment is reducing. That is how one can make an honest appraisal of it. It is easier said than done because the ego meddles in it, and it cheats us. Our mind cheats us so much that you may not recognize that it is attachment. It is, I have seen this with others and with myself too. And with oneself it is very difficult to recognize. And with others you can see that this is being done out of attachment. That it is, but one is attached, but it tries to tell oneself, no, this is not attachment, this is compassion. One tries to tell that this is my duty and not attachment. It is all this self-deception keeps on happening. Therefore, it is important to judge this with as objective an outlook as one can have it. Just think that had it been done by somebody else, how would you have looked at it? Because everybody would say, no, my case is different. I do it not because of attachment. It is very easy to say, I have no attachment. It is sometimes we get even attached to keep on saying this. I have no attachment. It is not so easy to get rid of it. So whenever there is the desire that is prompting you to do work, or whenever the impression of the work that is making us do it, because I did it yesterday, that has left an impression. So that prompts me again to do it. It is, and thus I go into it more and more. Something that I am connected with, I cannot bear the thought of separation from it. I am attached to it. So I work hard to hold on to it. Attachment, work, and then instead of getting rid of it, I give it a flowery name, very nice sounding name. No, this is my duty, this is my compassion, this is something that my guru told me. That is how it comes true. That you hide behind something that guru has told in some other context. But you say that this is what my guru told me to do. And thus you do not get rid of the attachments. So only your question is so nice, Fred, that an honest appraisal will come by looking at this, thinking of oneself as objectively as possible, and imagine oneself in others. How would I have looked at it if not me, but somebody else has done it? And then see, the first thing, as I told, see whether the desire to work is increasing or the desire to hold on to God or to meditate, that is increasing. So this is how one can decide whether it is attachment or it is devotion. Okay then. So let us conclude with the closing chant. मुकुंद माधव गोविंद बोल, केशव माधव हरि हरि बोल। मुकुंद माधव गोविंद बोल, केशव माधव हरि हरि बोल। हरि हरि बोल, कृष्ण कृष्ण बोल। हरि हरि बोल, कृष्ण कृष्ण बोल। हरि हरि बोल, कृष्ण कृष्ण बोल। मुकुंद माधव गोविंद बोल, केशव माधव हरि हरि बोल। केशव माधव हरि हरि बोल।